You can't get rid of the pepper dog.
You can bring me the boy. You can bring me the boy. You can bring me the boy.
What do you want?
Today, you're in college, somewhere between the ages of 18 and 24. What about tomorrow? You graduate, you get a job, you get married, you have children, you go through a few more jobs, you buy a house. Okay, then what? You become a grandparent, you live out your life in leisure, drawing income from a retirement fund. Okay, then what? Well, then, someday you die. Death is a tomorrow that awaits us all, the inevitable then that none of us can escape. But is that it? Is there anything more? Some people will wonder, will there still be a conscious me somewhere? Is there really life after death? Meanwhile, others regard death as the ultimate end. Nothing remains, and they do not believe in what's called life after death. However, believe it or not, afterlife has been scientifically proven. It really exists along with our world. The concept life after death has been out there and caused considerable controversy among human beings for decades, even centuries. However, do all people fully comprehend what life after death actually means? Before discovering the meaning of this concept, let's take a quick glance at the perception of different religions about the afterlife. 1. Buddhism. Modern Buddhists consider death to be an escape from this materialistic life. They see death as a moment when they are awakened, rather than the prolongation of the soul. Moreover, Buddhists believe in reincarnation. Every people will be reborn after dying, and then start a new life on earth. The behavior of each person in the previous life will determine his position in the society in the next life. 2. Christianity. Many distinctive assumptions of an afterlife exist among Christians. However, most Christians believe that there is a life after death, and whether we will be put to hell or heaven depends on how we behave when we are still alive. 3. Islam. Muslims believe that people live their present life just to prepare for the next life. In other words, death is simply a shift between two different worlds. Before the dead person is entombed, Muslims assemble and pray for him to have a good afterlife.
Life after death is a concept that involves to remain, in which the person soul continues to survive after for they have died. Also, some people believe that this continuous survival of the soul, which happens in physical domain, others maintain that the dead people will be born and then become completely new people who can swim within this world again.
For the most part, it is normally conceived that life after death is a matter of fate. Whether our opinions are based on our subconscious feelings or the teachings of our religion, the afterlife is more about what we believe than what we know. Therefore, along with the afterlife believers, there are a large number of people in the world who have no faith in the existence of the afterlife. 1. It's not ghosts, but our brain.
When we electrically stimulated an epileptic patient's brain,
Things got really spooky. The patient reported a shadow person sitting behind her, copying her every move. When she sat up, it also sat up. When she bent forward and grabbed her knees, it reached around her and held her. Then we told her to read a cat, but the shadow person tried to take it out of her hand. The finding shows that our brains is able to understand our body, then creating a shadow person.
2. Carbon monoxide, CO.
Each family experienced living in a gloomy and haunted house. There are strange voices calling them, dark figures looming in the dining room, footsteps backing through the hallways. Furthermore, the children grew paler and more listless, while the plants withered and died. Eventually, they found out that it was carbon monoxide or CO, an odorless, colorless, and hardly detected gas. Due to the fact that red blood cells absorb CO instead of oxygen, this oxygen deprivation leads to symptoms such as weakness, nausea, confusion, and finally death. But firstly, hallucinations like X family.
3. Earth's magnetic field.
In some haunted sites, we have measured magnetic fields, which are stronger than normal or which exhibit unusual fluctuation. We also found out that human brain reacts to these fields, causing hallucination, dizziness, or some other neurological symptoms. This theory partly explains why people spot more ghostly presences at night. Because the solar wind interacts with the Earth's magnetosphere, the planet's magnetic field stretches out on its side in the dark, so it strongly affects human brain.
At the same time, there are several reasons why a belief in the afterlife is neither irrational nor misplaced. These evidences will certainly make you have the second thought that there is really life after death. The first stunning real story is from Janice Heafy Durham, who didn't used to believe in life after death, but could think that death is the end of everything. In 2004, the grievous loss of her husband, Max Bessler, which was followed by a series of very strange occurrences around the house, totally changed her mind.
2004, a few days shy of his 56th birthday, Max Bessler died. And that, Janice says, is when things started getting weird. Lights in her Sacramento home would flicker. Clocks would stop at the moment Max died. But then, on the anniversary date of his death, Janice was stunned by something she saw as she stood in her bathroom washing her hands.
I looked up at the mirror, and I saw a handprint, a perfectly formed, powdery handprint, large on the mirror. It was the right hand.
Her first thought was that maybe Tanner did it as a joke, but his teenage hands were much too small.
That hand looked so consistent, so similar to Max's. So I did have the wherewithal to photograph it. I wish I had done more.
More like?
I wish I would have thought to take a sample, but I just didn't even think of it. I thought I do need to photograph it, however.
You knew it was something.
I knew it was something.
Before long, the hardcore skeptic was a true believer.
I mean, I have faith in things that I can't see, but you know there are millions of people out there that are going to say, come on.
Exactly. And I was one of them, so I really understand it.
In time, Janice moved on. She remarried in 2008, but things kept happening. A footprint appeared on a chair at their vacation home. Carpets would move themselves across her floor. And on the second anniversary of Max's death, more powdery images on the mirror. On the third, another handprint.
And there's no doubt in your mind that this was a sign from Max?
No doubt in my mind. No.
The second true story was told by Dr. Ana Bella Cardoso, a Spanish diplomat who is involved in a study using electronic devices as a way of communicating directly with the dead without medium. In her studio, she's in touch with the spirits on the other side.
In white noise, so-called white noise, static noise between stations, the noise that you can hear now, and this one, that one, that one, that one, that one, and that one. And I have had voices that start here, then they continue speaking from that one, they go into that one, and then they go into that one. And they are all tuned into different frequencies of the shortwave band. So I sit here and I start experimenting as if I were experimenting for EVP, which is like this. You sit here, as I am now, and you speak to the invisible communicators. And so you start speaking as you would speak to a visible communicator. The truth is that I know from my own experimentation that the voices call me by my name. In certain cases it can be universally recognized. That is my name, Annabella Cardoso. Sometimes by my pet name, Bella. They say it's é o teu pai, João Cardoso. That was my father's name. Or it's your brother, Luis Cardoso. It's your grandmother. So, and they reply to my questions, obviously, and I mean beyond any doubt.
Besides the cases mentioned above, some individuals claim to have some kind of abnormal ability to communicate with the spirits. Those with this special ability are called psychics or mediums. Phan Thị Bích Hằng, a Vietnamese psychic, is a typical example for this kind of people. She's helped to find the lost remains of many soldiers in the war, and the case of the soldier Ding Châu was one of them.
Yes, I'm so clever. You know, my poor beloved son went to the Vietnam Battle War when he was in soldier. My family cried a lot when he went, and the children is abandoned. My son never come back. And my family had almost all the hope to find he made something lot of Phan Thị Bích Hằng. And had I not this disability recognized, I wouldn't believe in its existence. We wish he was able to find the road to make my son in a remote area and bring back my family. And you know, I also said that my son also want to know to find the road to make the father from those who died in the war in 1968. And with this instruction, I was able to locate the father's position correctly on the 29th December 2012. And I was really blessed by her exceptional ability and was really grateful for what she is my family.
If you still find the mentioned evidences not convincing enough to you, then the two following descriptions of near-death experience will be persuasive testimonies that life after death does really exist and may make you change your mind forever.
Experience is a conscious experience in which individual experiences a sense of being detached from the physical world during the process of physiological dying. Individuals may experience their own physiological dying and death, and at the same time become aware of their disembodied existences in an altered way, where they may experience things such elements as being out of body, seeing others who had died, experiencing peace, unconditional love, a life review, an intensely beautiful realm, and or knowing light and darkness.
The first case took place in Germany with a woman named Christina in 2012. She experienced a fatal car accident and was about to give up her life in the ICU when something extraordinary happened.
Next thing I know, I was hovering underneath the ceiling of the room. I could see down on myself laying on the operating table. And I saw the surgeons and heard them talking to each other. The scenario was pretty hectic. I realized that this was about life or death.
To help understand near-death experiences, some researchers focus on the content of these episodes.
A common element that occurs early in near-death experiences is what's called an out-of-body experience. At that time, the person seems to be able to see and hear things going on, but up from the vantage point above their body. Often what they describe are the doctors frantically trying to bring them back to life.
Medical science has an explanation for what's happening to Christina.
A near-death experience to a neurologist is first and foremost a crisis. Christine's brain was in a severe state of crisis. The switches in her brain that control consciousness malfunction. And it enters a very unusual, a strange borderland of consciousness where it blends waking consciousness with REM dreaming consciousness.
As they leave the body, they begin to traverse this connection. They begin to travel from what this life is to what there would be beyond this life, after this life, outside of this life.
I can't exactly describe how I got from floating under the ceiling to this special place that I went to. The whole world I found myself in was engulfed in a very warm, brilliant light.
The bright light that so often accompanies near-death experience to a neurologist means that the visual system has been very strongly activated. There are many ways to activate the visual system, and among the strongest is REM consciousness.
Christine's awareness of these heavenly realms is classic. Near-death experiencers often describe realms that are beyond earthly in their beauty. They often use the term heavenly realms.
It looked similar like Earth, but all the colors were much brighter and friendlier. Absolutely beautiful. And the ground felt like cotton, very soft and warm. I know this because I wasn't wearing any shoes. I heard somebody call my name. I looked into that direction and saw two people coming towards me. And I recognized them, although I didn't really know them. They were my grandparents. I had only seen them in pictures because they had both passed away a long time ago.
We have scores of near-death experience accounts that describe meeting someone during the experience that they instantly recognize, and they know it was one of their deceased ancestors or someone who's part of their family. Sometimes it's a deceased ancestor they never even met, someone who died even before they were born.
On the other hand, Dr. Alexander, a neurosurgeon from America, who was also on the edge of death because of a heart attack, also had near-death experience, but in a totally different way.
Christina's vision of heaven was peaceful. Dr. Alexander says he too went on a journey during his coma, but it was very different from Christina's.
I existed in this underground, boiling, muddy, surrounded by dirt and mud. I had no memory whatsoever of my human life, had no words, no language, and just this pounding, monotonous machinery type sound deep beneath me. A strong sense of roots, black, fine roots. It seemed to go on for years and years, if not eternity.
Dr. Alexander's near-death experience is far darker than most. Dr. Long's research shows that almost all near-death experiences are reported as joyous, and that only a small percentage begin like Dr. Alexander's underworld nightmare.
I have no memory of my life. I have no words, no language, no knowledge of humans or this universe. Just this bubbling, foamy, dark underground.
Real or not, near-death experiences have real-world effects.
Life after our lives has given people hope. We do know, for example, from psychological studies, that people are much more resilient to the slings and arrows that life hands them.
Also ich habe jetzt selber gar keine Angst mehr zu sterben. I am no longer afraid of death. That doesn't mean I wouldn't care if I die tomorrow. It's not that. I look forward to dying when I'm old because I know that there will be something else after this life, and I have seen it. And that is a really wonderful and comforting thought for me.
Through this documentary, not only the definition of concept life after death, but also both arguments for and counter-arguments against life after death are discussed. The purpose of this documentary is to deliver one message: life after death does really exist, along with the hope to provide guidelines for a more meaningful life on Earth, offer enlightenment and comfort, and dispel the fear of death and the next life. Death is only a man-made term after all. It's not an end, but a brand new beginning into a brand new life.